Dear friends, welcome to my YouTube channel, The Classic Corner. Hunger is not just the absence of food, hunger is the presence of fear. Hunger is the slow death of dignity. Dear friends, today I am not presenting a poem immediately. Today I am showing you a reality, one that exists silently around us. In a world where food is wasted every day, there are lives where hunger decides morality, where survival replaces values, and where the human body itself becomes a commodity. This is exactly what Jayanta Mahapatra forces us to face this brutal truth in his disturbing and unforgettable poem called Hunger. In this poem, hunger is not just hunger for food, it is for survival. It is a brutal force that destroys ethics, erases dignity, and turns human beings into objects. It exposes how poverty dehumanizes people, how desperation silences morality, and how society itself becomes complicit in this quiet violence. Jayant Mahapatra is one of the most powerful voices in Indian English poetry. His poetry does not entertain, it unsettles. He writes about poverty, sexual exploitation, moral decay, and the harsh truths of Indian society. Mahapatra does not shout or preach, he simply shows, and that is why his poetry hurts. Before we analyze the poem, let us briefly understand what happens. There are three characters in this poem: fisherman, his daughter, and the speaker. The fisherman is starving and desperate. To survive, he brings his daughter to the speaker, implying that her body can be exchanged for money or food. The father waits outside while the speaker is alone with the girl. See, there is no love, no desire, only hunger. Hunger controls every action in the poem. The poem is set at night near the sea. Darkness surrounds everything, just like hunger. Early in the poem, Mahapatra writes about hunger as a living force. The poem begins with darkness and hunger moving together. The poet writes, "It was hard to believe the flesh was heavy on my back." I repeat, it was hard to believe the flesh was heavy on my back. This line shocks us immediately. Why? Because hunger is no longer abstract. Hunger is no longer about food. It has become physical. It has become sexual. It has become moral and disturbing. The night setting symbolizes secrecy, shame, and helplessness. At this moment, Mahapatra gives us one of the most shocking lines in Indian poetry. He says, I heard him say, my daughter, she has just turned 15. Feel her, I will be back soon. Your bus leaves at 9. I repeat the line. I heard him say, my daughter, she has just turned 15. Feel her, I will be back soon. Your bus leaves at 9. Hunger has turned a father into a negotiator. The father introduces his daughter not as a human being but as something to be touched and evaluated. The phrase just turned 15 highlights her terrible helplessness. The father encourages the speaker to go with the girl and to feel her. And yet, the line, your bus leaves at 9, sounds disturbingly normal. Life must go on. Poverty does not wait for morality. The father is starving, the daughter is starving, and hunger pushes them into an act that society calls immoral. But survival demands. The poet writes, the speaker himself admits. The line runs like this. My hunger rose like a sun burning in my body. I repeat, my hunger rose like a sun burning in my body. Notice the irony. The sun, usually a symbol of life, a life giving force, becomes a symbol of destructive desire. Mahapatra shows how hunger burns values from inside. The father is not a villain, he is a victim of poverty. He is defeated by poverty. One of the most painful moments is when the fisherman stood there staring at the dark. I repeat, the fisherman stood there staring at the dark. He waits silently while his daughter is exploited. Mahapatra shows his shame silently. His silence represents shame. His silence represents helplessness. His silence represents social failure. Hunger turns a protector into a witness. As I told you just a few minutes ago, hunger has turned a father into a negotiator. I repeat the line. The fisherman stood there staring at the dark. The silence is louder than words. The father's hunger destroys his role as a protector, turns him into a helpless observer, reduces fatherhood to economic failure. The girl speaks almost nothing. Mahapatra describes her with emotional coldness. The line runs like this. Mahapatra writes like this. Long and lean, her ears were cold as rubber. Long and lean, her ears were cold as rubber. This line tells us that her childhood has been hardened by poverty. There is no warmth, no protection, no innocence left. She has grown up too fast. As I told you, the girl barely speaks. Her silence represents millions of unheard voices. One of the most disturbing lines and chilling images in the poem is when Mahapatra writes. He writes like this. She opened her blouse, her young breasts rare. I repeat, she opened her blouse, her young breasts rare. There is no romance, no emotion, only transaction, only survival. The body becomes currency. This is where the poem becomes unbearable and unforgettable. Mahapatra forces us to ask who is truly guilty here? The girl, the father, or a society that allows hunger to reach this level? Mahapatra does not give solutions. He gives shock therapy. Mahapatra is not judging individuals. He is accusing a system. The poem tells us poverty is violence. Hunger is a moral disease. Hunger kills dignity before it kills the body. Society exploits the weakest first. Society allows exploitation by remaining silent. The final effect of the poem is discomfort because the poet wants us to feel responsible. He does not romanticize the suffering, he forces us to witness it. Mahapatra now exposes something even more unsettling. The speaker says, I felt the hunger there, the other one, the fish slithering, turning inside. Here, the poet speaks of two kinds of hunger: hunger for food, hunger of the body, that is, primitive instinct. The image of the fish slithering suggests something animal like, uncontrollable, dark, and instinctive. The poem Hunger shocks us by showing that hunger corrupts both the victim and the observer. As the father leaves, the speaker feels the full weight of the moment. Mahapatra writes, the sky fell on me, and a father's exhausted while. The sky fell on me suggests moral collapse and shock. The speaker suddenly realizes the enormity of what is happening. The poem ends not with satisfaction but with guilt, silence, and moral disturbance. This is the world Mahapatra exposes. Even today, hunger still exists, exploitation still exists, silence still exists. Hunger, this poem reminds us that economic injustice destroys humanity faster than weapons. When hunger enters the body, morality exits the soul. Hunger is not a poem you enjoy, it is a poem you endure. This poem is not meant to please you, it is meant to trouble you. If literature does not disturb us, it has failed its purpose. It is to say, if literature does not disturb you, it is not doing its job. Mahapatra's poem, Hunger, virtually disturbs the reader. Therefore, literature succeeds. With these words, I would like to conclude my talk on the poem Hunger. Thank you very much.